Hi all, this is Khuzaimah from M.A.C technical team. In today's Cyberbite, we'll be going over how to backup and recover your endpoint using the Salvador CRU. The Salvador Cyber Recovery Unit is a hardware-based backup and recovery solution that essentially lets you backup and recover your endpoint in a matter of seconds. Join me in the next steps of the video where I'll be showing you how to do a backup and a recovery.
In this part of the video, we'll be focusing on how to initiate a backup and then perform a recovery. To actually perform a backup, we'll need to install the Salvador Backup and Recovery software. So this software essentially enables us to perform a manual and also scheduled backup of our chosen endpoint and also for performing a recovery. To actually obtain the software, you'll first need to head to the management server, which is hosted on the web. So as you can see on the screen, the management server, it's quite simple but also powerful in certain terms. So as you can see on the left, you've got access to your dashboard, all your different assets, logs and reports, resources and users. So to actually download the software, you'll have to head to resources and then press download for the backup and recovery software. The management server also hosts other resources like the user manual and other files. For example, you have files that will help you do a agentless backup and recovery, and also an image file for the management server too, if you want to host it yourself. But for this case, we'll just need to download the backup and recovery software. On the left, you can also see that you've got your logs and reports, which are helpful too. For example, on the 16th of July, we initiate the backup at 11:04, and then it finished at 11:44. So for all of these events, we always get email notifications, which can be set up in the users tab. So having done that, we can now proceed with our first backup. So the software itself has access to various different settings. For example, in the advanced features tab, you can enable and disable various settings related to the disk and also your PC. But for this, we won't really need it as we can just go ahead with the factory settings. So after clicking on configure backup settings, we can select the disk that we want to backup. In this case, we only have one disk on this PC, so this will do. And then click on next. For this part of the process, you have to hold your fingers on both of the buttons. So these buttons are allocated towards a backup and recovery. So to actually select the backup, we'll have to hold it for 5 seconds. You should be able to see on the screen too. And then let go. After that, you can now hold the backup button and select your frequency. In this case, we'll keep it to 2 days. After clicking next, you can also manually configure the backup schedule. For example, you might want to set it at a certain time. For example, if you want to set it at midnight, where the devices aren't being used, you can do that. Or even change the frequency to daily, 2 days weekly, or an immediate backup. So after clicking next, you're now presented with a page which shows if you want to enable BitLocker or not. So this really depends if the drives which you are backing up have BitLocker enabled on them. If not, you can just proceed with next, like we have here. So after going through that, we can now agree to the standard product terms and conditions and privacy policy, which is needed, and proceed with the backup. But before that, you can also update the device and web management settings. If you click that, you could just have to enable your company ID just so you can identify which disk and which PC you're backing up. This is not needed, but it is optional, just in case you want to see on the management server who's backing up what. So after clicking through that, you can now press the button for Start Backup Now, and on the screen you'll see this process sped up.
So after performing a backup, we're now ready to perform our first recovery. To do a recovery, you first have to put your finger on the recovery button and hold it for about 5 seconds. So it's automatically detected the baseline backup, which is great. Right now, we'll just turn on our PC now. So once your PC is on, it's important to head to the backup and BIOS menu for this. So once we're in the BIOS boot menu, we can now head to the Salvador option on the left, which is right at the bottom. And if you click on enter, so right now we're successfully booting from the Salvador CRU itself. This would mean if any of your machines on your factory network or OT environment go down, you can quickly use this and get a valid recovery going in about 5 seconds or so. So you're just going to wait for the OS to boot up. So it's as fast as that. So right now we'll just hit on our login details. So while we're waiting for it to do that, once you do boot from the backup, there should be a pop-up coming up saying that you've successfully booted from the Salvador CRU. And once that comes up, we'll head to our recovery options. So just give it another 5 seconds. So as you can see, the pop-ups come up showing us that we've successfully booted from the Salvador device. We'll just hit close on that and then open up the software again. As you can see, the software's got a few little options for your recovery. First of all, you can select which disks that you want to recover. So on the right is which disk which you'll copy your backup over to, and also options for manual recovery too. So for this, we'll just be selecting our standard disk, which is disk 0 on the PC. So having selected that, the Salvador CRU will copy itself over to your PC. So let's say if your hard drive failed, all you simply do is select the next active or healthy hard drive to copy itself onto. So once you've selected that, you can click on confirm and it'll do a recovery. The recovery time varies, so it could last between 10 or 30 minutes depending on how big your hard drive or SSD is. So what we'll do now is just press confirm and go through the recovery after. But thanks for joining and watching the video. It was great explaining to you how the Salvador CRU works. If you have any other questions about this device or any queries, feel free to hit us up at sales@mac-solutions.co.uk. Thank you.